I love you. Ladies, men, and gentlefolk all, sometimes, just sometimes, we like to watch new movies when they come out.
Sometimes we like that.
Yeah, we tried. We're trying this year because a lot of it's gone to streaming rather than in the theaters. It was so much easier when it was just all of it was being dumped into the theaters because I had one place to go and I was like, oh, these are the new movies right here. And then occasionally I'll hear about what came out on streaming and be like, oh, I should go back and watch that.
Yeah.
Well, now most of it's just coming out on streaming, and I keep falling behind because I have to check like so many different websites to figure out what's all out. And so Mitchell's and the Machines, one of the films we're talking today, kind of went under my radar. And then Luca, the other one I knew about, but wasn't expecting to be dumped onto the stream.
Oh, no?
No, I wasn't. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're talking Luca versus Mitchell's and the Machines. Thank you for joining us here on the couch. I am the Green Traveler.
And I am the Faceless Leon, procurer of animated things. As I am an animated thing of polymers and silicate.
Yes, indeed. And all such fun stuffs.
And this is a podcast about movies and TV.
There you go. Yeah, there's a lot of fun because not only are both of these animated films and in 2021 new releases, there's a couple of other fun similarities. They're both the directorial debut for their respective directors. Luca's director is Enrico Casarosa, and The Mitchells versus the Machines, it's his directorial debut for feature-length film. Mike Rianda, who is the one of the writers in Gravity Falls, which is the show a lot of people have told me I need to watch, and I have yet to do so.
Gravity Falls is good, man.
You're one of the people that's told me to watch it, definitely. I think you've told me so many times, too.
I think it's only 2 seasons, and that was it. That was the little bubble thing that they wanted to do, so...
I've definitely seen tidbits of it, because when he has a character in his movie, The Mitchells and the Machines, he does the voice for a character in that, and when I heard that voice, I was like, oh, I've definitely heard that before, and I had to look him up, and I was like, oh, he's only done this in Gravity Falls. So I know I've seen something of Gravity Falls. I just haven't actually watched a full episode or anything. I've just probably seen clips. Well, he might have done other stuff, but that was the only things that I remember, that jumped out when I looked at his Wikipedia. But I don't really have a preference on which one we talk first.
Well, I think we both watched Luca first. So if you want to do it in the order that we watched, I think that's pretty respectable. I could respectabate that.
I'm totally down for that. I forgot to mention also that the other connecting thing between these movies is that Maya Rudolph is in both films, and she plays the mom in both films.
Oh my god, that's hilarious! Because I thought I recognized her voice.
Yeah, I only remember her for I think she's in. Oh man.
She plays the mom in both.
There's a movie that she's in that I've definitely seen that I remember her in, but I can't remember what the title is.
Bridesmaids. She's in a lot of different things. I'm looking at her IMDb right now.
I'm not sure what I remember Maya Rudolph from then, because I don't know if I've actually seen Bridesmaids.
Well, I mean, she voice acts in a lot of shit. She was in Big Hero 6. That's the series.
But the thing is, when I see her photo, I can picture her clearly what she looks like, and I know I've seen her in something. I just can't think of what it is.
Oh, I'm sure you have, because she's literally been just about in everything. She's plays the judge in The Good Place, which is one of my favorite shows. I know you haven't seen that, but I haven't watched it. No, she used to be on SNL. Right? Yes. Yeah, I feel like that might just be where it's from. But I've seen so little of SNL, but I'm sure that's where it's from. Is the small amount of skits I've seen. She does when they have Kamala Harris. She plays Kamala Harris.
Oh yeah, that is right. She is Kamala Harris. Yeah, that might be where it's from then.
That might be it.
But
All right,
but she's not the main subject.
She just happens to be in both movies. Not the protagonist in either.
No, and both of her roles, though, are hilarious. I fucking love her in both of these movies.
Yeah, she's surprisingly violent in both of them.
Yeah, she is. Oh, my God, man. Oh, shit. There's one scene in Mitchell vs. the Machines that you have to remind me to talk about when we get to that film, because the ending scene with her when she appears in the sun, I'll say, lovely moment. But Luca, we're talking Luca, directed by Enrico Casarosa, written by Jesse Andrews and Mike Jones. Mike Jones helped with Soul. He helped write. He was one of the 3 or 4 writers that wrote Soul. So Pixar's going to him for their next film. I can't remember, was Soul Pixar or was it just Disney?
I think it was Pixar. I think that was the last
Pixar
movie, and that was just last year.
Yeah, so Luca's their next film, which when Disney dropped pretty much every other film that they've done on Disney Plus, you've had to pay $30 for.
Right.
We didn't have to pay that for Luca.
No, we didn't.
And I'm wondering, was it just because it was a Pixar film? Like, what was that about? Like,
well, I thought we had to pay for Soul. Did we not?
Yeah, I thought we did too. So that's why I was curious.
Did it go to theaters?
Luca, I believe so. Maybe it's only in theaters in areas where the streaming service isn't available.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. But it seemed like a very weird thing when I got to it, because I was like, wait, for a second there I thought you and your wife had probably paid for it, but I was like, no, I would have gotten an email notification about it still. So yeah, it was weird. I don't know why they didn't have you pay for it.
It says it's okay. It won't. The short answer was it won't be in theaters. Though if you live in Los Angeles, Luca will have a limited week-long run at Disney's El Capitan Theater.
So that's weird. I wonder why that is. Is Disney not afraid to? Because let's be honest, this film has a very it's not really a very focused on, but it does have a good paralleling message for the LGBTQ community.
Right.
So I'm wondering if it's just Disney still trying to hide that they have, that they're willing to touch that message. It's they don't want to focus on it at all. They never.
All they didn't think that this movie would it's basically a mermaid movie, right?
Right.
It's got all the tropes in there, but it's willing to play with them, I think, well enough to make its own thing. And they call themselves, because of what the humans call them, they call themselves sea monsters. But maybe they thought that very familiar storyline wouldn't do so well in theaters. Maybe also, how they got all these different sub-production companies within Disney, like they got the main animated studios, and then they have all the other sub ones.
Right.
Maybe they're doing the same thing with Pixar. Maybe this is like a secondary project for Pixar.
Maybe.
Something like that.
It's the reason why, as we're doing our Disney playlist, I just discovered that we're not going to get to a Goofy movie. For some reason, I always thought a Goofy movie was a Disney animated film. It's one of their subsidiary, smaller company things. So it's not going to be part of our Disney playlist.
Some of that shit in after we're 82.
Yeah, we will. It pissed me off because I was looking down the line and I was like, "You fucking kidding me? I'm not gonna. That's not part of the playlist. We'll have to shoehorn that in somewhere."
That movie's awesome.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer for why they did this with Luca, where they just kind of dumped it on Disney Plus. I mean, I'm not upset that I didn't have to pay for it. I'm really happy I got to watch this film for free.
Yeah, sure.
And it was a lot of fun and very entertaining. Part of what makes it entertaining, let's start picking it apart, is the voice acting. Luca is played by Jacob Tremblay, who I've known him for Dr. Sleep and Room with Captain Marvel. What's her name? Brie Larson.
Oh my God. That's that kid?
Yeah, it's that kid.
Oh, he is so good in Room. Oh, man.
Yeah. He's like Benny Watts from Queen's Gambit, though. It's like he's not aging. He looks the exact same as when I saw him in Room as when I saw him in Dr. Sleep, and it's been years now.
How long ago was that, though? Was it more than 5 years ago?
Room was probably, I would say, 5 or 6 years ago.
But it takes a year and a half typically for a film. So yeah, he does look like a teenager in his IMDb picture. I'll say
that's fair. But he plays Luca. Luca is a young boy. He is the young sea boy. He's a sea creature. He is the son of I don't think I know if I have their names written down, but his father is voiced by Jim Gaffigan, and his mother, as we mentioned, is Maya Rudolph.
Maya is Daniela, and Jim is Lorenzo. Which,
thank you.
Like I didn't recognize that as Jim either.
Right? It's good
and
voice acting.
I knew I recognized the voice, but it just fit that character so well. Both of them.
Right.
Really, like all of the characters really fit their animation really well.
Yeah. And see, again, when you do voice acting, quite often you're not in the room with the other actors. You'll do like a table read together. You'll get an idea of what you're doing. And then you'll just be in a studio by yourself. Sometimes I'm sure they will do it together if they need to get a certain kind of emotion across. But from what I've heard, it's often alone in a studio. That's typically what I've read about. So it's amazing the kind of chemistry that they can pull off as a couple, because Maya Rudolph and Jim Gaffigan are they just work as a couple. It really is so funny. A lot of the antics that they get up to when they go onto land, because there's a scene or there's a segment of the film that takes place mostly on dry land in the Italian Riviera, and the antics that the parents get up to when they're on dry land is fucking hilarious. So many good moments.
So maybe I should. Do you want to summarize this one or the other one?
Well, that's what I was doing.
Oh, you're doing it. Okay.
I'm just doing it while cast listing too.
Yes, right.
But yeah, Luca is about to be sent off to I don't remember why, like just to I guess to be a better sea creature.
Yes, because he went to the surface and he wasn't allowed to.
And that's taboo. They don't want him to do that. So to learn or to grow as a sea creature, they're going to send him off to the depths with his uncle, voiced by Sacha Baron Cohen. And I love that character too. He's like
so good, man.
He's like transparent because he's like a deep sea fish, so he doesn't see light.
He's got one of those angler bulb things.
It's so funny. But to escape that, because Luca doesn't want to escape, the reason he went to the surface was because he met another sea creature who is mostly a loner, another young boy named Alberto, voiced by Jack Dylan Grazer, who is Eddie Kasbrack from It. And I know that's something that we've at least both seen him in.
We have, but I'm trying to remember. But I don't know. They both
Eddie Kasbrack, the asthmatic.
Okay. Yes. He was a bit of a hypochondriac too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a completely different character. Like absolutely the opposite of that character.
Oh yeah. Alberto is a very active, and he has to explore. He's very restless. He's alone. He finds a friend in Luca, and he pushes Luca out of his comfort zone to go and explore the Italian Riviera. Yeah. And it's one of those wonderful films where it's like, a summer, I want to say a summer romance, but it's not a romance, but it's a summer friendship.
Feels like it.
Blooms. It feels like it. It's kind of like a Call Me By Your Name kind of.
Yeah.
Has that kind of a romantic feel to it. But they're just young boys, but it's a friendship that blooms over the summer as they explore the Italian Riviera. And it's so much fun. Like it's a really good concept. Like, as you said, it's a mermaid film, so it's, you get what you expect from those kind of stories.
You can call the beats, but there's really good stuff that happens, really good characters. So, they meet Julia and her father.
Right.
And they're just wonderful people. And they kind of just take them in, thinking that they're human boys.
Because they look when they're out of water. Sorry, we didn't mention that. When they're out of water, they look like humans when they dry themselves off, at least.
Right.
But the moment water hits them, they revert back to their sea creature form, which causes some hilarious comedic moments.
Of course. And I feel like Pixar's really good at developing those and making it feel like a real part of the world. But it definitely, if you have a high concept like that and it's a kid's family movie or a comedy, you have to play with it. I mean, if you don't, your audience are going to be like, why didn't they do anything with this?
Yeah, exactly.
I think
they
do
definitely
a good
explore
job.
it really well.
They do. I think they do a good job with it, but it's also kind of like, at certain points, it's like, yeah, of course they're going to do that. Like you can call some of the punchlines with it, but it's still funny and really beautiful. I mean, God, the animation for the transitions is really good, but also just the sea creatures themselves, like the iridescence they play with. And the folding of the I don't know what you would call those type of fins that are real soft looking, that feel like seaweed almost. Both the mother character and Luca have these like purplish pink ones that make this nice looking hair, and then when they come up, they all look like Italian people. Yeah,
that's another thing is just how their human forms compared to their sea creature forms look. It works.
Jim Gaffigan's character's mustache is just the same, though.
Oh man, it's so funny though. It works so well. I don't want to explain the antic. I definitely recommend you seeing this. So I don't want to like give jokes away.
Right.
But they have so many good moments, and it's a fun exploration of friendship. And then that you get. What's the young girl's name? What'd you call her?
Julia. It's spelled with a Giu.
Yeah, because it's Italian.
Yeah.
And
she's voiced by Emma Berman.
Thank you. And who's her father voiced by?
Marco Barasili. It's Barasili. A double R and a double L, and I don't know what the rules are for Italian.
I think the L's are still pronounced as L's, and I took both Spanish and Italian, so everything is jumbled together for me.
Yeah, I took French and German as well as Spanish. So yeah, it's all fucked up.
Yeah, so many similarities that it's so very easy to forget which one is which when you study them at the same time.
Those goddamn Romans. Why do they have to spread everywhere and then just fall apart? God.
Those silly fools. But no, Luca, it kind of felt like a Pixar short that they just kept extending more to. Mm-hmm. But that's not a flaw because it kind of just kept it active. It kept me interested because it kind of, it would take a new turn, and I'd just be like, oh, okay, so this is a new element. Where are we going with this? They introduce the race, and it's like, oh, okay, this race is going to be a thing now, and then they introduced the sea monster scare with everything, and that complicates everything. And it's like, oh, okay, this is fun. There's it just keeps going. It's nothing really new. And again, you can guess the story beats, but
they did a very good job of transitioning from the underwater world to the surface, because Luca and Alberto have like maybe a week and a half where they're just hanging out on the surface trying to make a Vespa together. I'll leave it at that.
Right.
It's this really nice boyhood bromance, I guess is what I'll call it. But Alberto has some, I think, stronger feelings than Luca does. I mean, we could talk a little bit more about that if you want to, but I wish they honestly would have just went for it, because even with Luca being into Julia, like, I think that could have made a good story. I mean, kids are going to experience that, so why shouldn't their films represent it?
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
I don't remember what I was talking about when I started saying that. Oh, well. the at the tower where they just kind of learn how to be friends, how Luca learns how to be on the surface. Like, he had to learn that he could breathe and shit like that.
How to walk and all that fun stuff.
Yes, exactly. And the way that Alberto describes walking is how I was described it in my movement for the actor class.
Nice.
I can't quite remember exactly what Alberto says, but he tells
something along the lines of like, take a step and then catch yourself before you fall.
Yes, something exactly. Like and what I was told is that walking is the act of falling, but you catch yourself and then you just keep on falling.
Nice. I like that. There's a lot of good messages throughout Luca, like
sure.
Just the Silencio Bruno.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
That's a repetitive thing throughout, where Alberto, to get Luca to overcome some of his fears and to join him in the adventure he's about to have, he's like, you have to quiet those thoughts in your mind, the thoughts that are telling you can't do this or whatever. Mm-hmm. He's like, so when you're afraid about it, you just, you tell them silent, Silencio Bruno. And Luca just like, it's just, there's so many great moments with that. There's a lot of those throughout the whole film, a lot of great little messages. And the sea monsters themselves, the director Enrico Casarosa, he said this is it's a film basically about his childhood exploring the Italian Riviera where he grew up. He basically just made that into a film, and the sea monsters is an allegory for just being different, for not fitting in with society. That was the whole point of it. And, that it fits really well with the LGBT community, because that's what, they have identified with the message of this film, because it's very much like, trying to act completely normal, so that society will accept you, even though that's not, normal is not at all the right word that I was looking for, but it's like trying to act.
You wear a mask. I think I know what you're trying to say.
Thank you. Exactly. Yeah, you're acting like you're not who you are at heart.
Yes.
I don't like how the message is really handled at the end. It kind of, I don't know. It seems a little.
Yeah, we talked about it. I get where you're coming from. I kind of had that feeling a little bit too, but I justified it in my brain because they just. I feel like what's obvious with these kind of movies is that it gets out. If there is a cat in a bag, it will come out of the bag.
There's a sea creature reveal.
Exactly.
And you think, oh no, what are the villagers going to do in this moment?
Right.
And I like how you look at it. I don't know if we should spoil it. I do like how you look at that, at that situation. But that all comes about because one big male character steps up and says, this is fine. And I was just like, all right.
I don't know. I think you're kind of inferring that it is because of his physical stature, Massimo's physical stature. But I think it's because Massimo is a well-respected member of the community.
The moment he steps forward, there are two characters with spears who go, whatever, and they toss their spears down and walk away. And that definitely felt more of a, not, we respect you, Massimo, just, you're going to kick our ass. We definitely don't want to fight you, Massimo.
I do think, though, that it is important to note that the people of the village, I don't know, I don't want to spoil it. Fucker.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's hard to talk about and not spoil, and I don't know how much of this I'm going to have to edit out, so this might be very choppy, people. I'm sorry, because I don't want to spoil the overall story, because I think it's really great to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't know. I think this is a good movie for kids. I think they'll really enjoy it. It's very kind of moving into closing statements. If you're ready for that.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, beautiful animation. The gimmicks are quite enjoyable. There's so many like great comedic moments, and how they play with that with the animation is great.
Yeah.
I love the friendship with Luca and Alberto. I love the messages in this film. All around 3.5 stars. Like, great job, Enrico Casarosa. This is a great directorial debut. Like,
yeah.
A lot of fun.
I really enjoyed this movie. I am tempted to give it a face and a half. Maybe I will. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I just felt like there's a very warm feeling you get from it, and it's not just Alberto and Luca's friendship that's so great. It's also Luca's and Giulia's relationship, and even Massimo and Alberto's relationship. It's just everyone's connection in the story is so awesome. Honestly, I wish there was a little bit more with the grandma character, because she seemed like a lot of fun, and she kind of is the one who gets Luca intrigued with the surface. Mm-hmm. So I kind of wish there was more to her instead of the one-liner they have at the end of the movie.
They don't really do anything with her. She's just kind of there for a comedic one-liner, isn't she? Yeah. Because when you mentioned the grandma character, I was like, "There's a grandma character." I had to search deep for that one. I was like, "Oh God, I watched this yesterday." And I was like,
I do think I'm going to give it a face and a half. It's just so enjoyable to me. I mean, it's not even like a brand new story or anything, but it really resonated with me, and I watch it again. So yeah, that's my review of it.
Let's move on to Netflix's Not Gravity Falls, The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Now, I knew I recognized the animation style, but like it's more 3D than Gravity Falls.
Yeah. I really love the animation of The Mitchells and the Machines too. Like, if I had to choose between these movies just for their animation, it'd be a very hard choice, but I would probably choose The Mitchells versus the Machines because I feel like their use of the animation is much more comedic at times, and
the explosiveness, it's like an homage to YouTube, really.
Yeah, it really is. Again, it's Mike Rianda. It's his directorial debut, and he voiced the son, I believe.
Aaron, yes. He apparently does the Furbies as well. Oh, yeah, there's Furbies in this, to spoil that. Oops.
Oh, dude. Yeah. But, like, that's a good thing to spoil, just so you know. If you ever were afraid of a Furby, this movie might touch a very specific fear of yours. Complete aside here, going complete tangent. I realized I've been leaving out Jeff Rowe. He was another writer and director on this film. He also helped with Gravity Falls, I believe. But Mike Miranda was a voice in this. And he technically has the sole directing credit, but Jeff Rowe, I think, helped co-direct it.
It puts co-director besides Jeff Rowe on IMDb.
Yeah, but I don't think he technically has the directing credit. They have a weird way of how films are credited as who's the director. Like the Coen brothers they always switch off who directed it technically because they're not allowed to have multiple directors, I guess, because of some weird rule in the.
You're not. Apparently, that's how it is in theater too. I don't know. At least that's what one of our teachers kept on telling people who were co-directing projects. It's like, okay, but theater's collaboration, so I don't see what the big deal is.
Right, it's weird. But the plot of The Mitchells versus the Machines. Did you want to take it away?
I will go for it. So. Katie, played by Abby Jacobson. She also plays Dog Cop in the movie. She is an aspiring filmmaker, and she wants to go to school in California, which will take her away from her family. Her father, Rick, played by Danny McBride, which I did not.
Yes, sir.
I did not recognize that as I was watching it.
Oh man, so good. Like slightly out of character for him because, very serious comedy as opposed to like his more adult humor.
It is definitely dad comedy. That's what he gets.
Oh, he was great though in the role.
Oh
so
yeah,
good in the role.
I love Rick. Rick is he loves being outdoors, but he's a goofball at heart. But he doesn't necessarily believe in Kate's dream. It's not that he doesn't believe in her. He doesn't think her dream is viable, and it really hurts Kate. And that's really the crux of the family drama in this film. But we also have Linda, who we mentioned is played by Maya Rudolph, and her brother Aaron, played by Mike Rianda.
Who both have their just like adorable personalities also.
Yes, they're great.
The mom gives out gold stars, and I loved it so much. Oh, it's so good.
Stars, and honestly, it's a really cute role that Maya portrays in this. I think I like this. Yeah. I think I like Linda more than I like, what was her name? Daniela, I think it was.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And I also like the dad character in this more than I like Jim Gaffigan's dad, even though I really like Jim Gaffigan.
Well, they're more characters. The parents in Luca are definitely side characters. They're just their only objective is to search for their kids, and there's some antics with it. These people are stuck in this situation with their kids. So they decide road trip to take Katie to school,
which devastates her,
and they're having some marvelous misadventures with that, and it's hilarious. That's kind of the first act. Meanwhile, you have, I believe, Mark it doesn't give a last name for Mark, but he runs PAL, and he has built this AI.
But who voices Mark? That's the big thing. Who voices Mark?
It's Eric Andre. My apologies. Eric Andre. And I really like Eric Mark.
Andre.
Mark is like a really interesting, he's he's basically like, all the tech heads, the famous big voices that we've had in the last 15 years or whatever, all rolled into one, except for he seems a little bit more like
a human,
like a well-centered person than some of those people. But anyway,
a decent human being.
Yes, a decent human being, exactly. So he creates PAL, played by Olivia Colman.
Yes. Oscar winning, I believe.
Yes, yeah, I think so. And she is an AI in a phone. He then creates the upgrade, which are these personal servants, PALbots.
PALmax
robots, excuse me. Which most of them are played by Beck Bennett. Who I'm not...
He does a great job, too.
Yeah. And I guess Frank Armisen plays one of the two main PALmax robots as well, the Deborah Brat 5000. I think the bit was like, they were trying to be human, and he's like, I am Eric.
But is that one Beck Bennett, though?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Okay. Because I was wondering if it was Fred Armisen's other his comedy partner from Portlandia, because I can't remember her name.
I can't remember her name either, but she does, in some of those skits in Portlandia, she does play a pretty good man.
Yeah, those two robots, Eric and
Deborah Bot.
Yeah, I fucking loved them. They were so good.
They were good.
It's so many great moments.
Yeah, they're kind of like the C-3PO and R2-D2 of this story. Definitely more comical. Which, I mean, I love the dry humor between the droids in Star Wars, but this is pretty hilarious.
This is great stuff.
Eventually, the PALbots, the PALmax robots, rather, decide to take over the world, and they start gathering up all the humans. And somehow, the Mitchells keep on escaping them by trying to pretend like they're a functional family. That's the bit. And that is, I think, a summary of the show. I went really high detail at first, and then I pulled back, and I was like, "What? So we could just talk about it? Now we could just talk about it."
That's fair. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy... it's your typical like dysfunctional family dynamic. Like there's nothing really new to this movie. It is very much a dysfunctional family surviving this like fun little apocalyptic world. But this dysfunctional family is a lot of fun to watch. Like,
really fun. Yeah,
it's such a good chemistry amongst all of them.
Rick is both relatable. And also, he represents a lot of people's dads too, like the in the ways that he fucks up. Like he fucks up a lot, but he is a very relatable character all the same.
But when he fucks up in the intention of doing good.
Yes,
it's always like I'm trying to resolve the situation, but I'm just sticking my foot in my mouth kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. And for Katie, it's always him smashing on her dreams. It's pretty much what it comes down to almost every single time.
Well, I mean, because we're older individuals, and when we watch those ridiculously weird, more geared towards the youth videos that are just absolutely ludicrous, make no sense, and yet the kids are laughing at it, and we're like, "What the fuck is this shit? And why is it funny?" That's the product that she's putting forth, and he will watch that and he's just like, that's not going to go anywhere. He's like, I know what is pleasing to my generation of people, And this is not it. This is going to fail. You know, that's how he views it.
The internet changed art so much.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
And this movie is proof of that. So it's almost like the Scott Pilgrim movie in the way that things just pop up. And it's really, I feel like, Kate's imagination, because she always puts in a lot of effects, but like cutout effects in her movies. That she puts on the internet. And most of them are dog cop, and they're great. Oh, their dog. What's their dog's name? Mochi.
Oh.
It's not Mochi.
It's not Mochi, but it's very close to Mochi, because that's what comes to my mind, too.
Machi.
Something.
It's
Machi. Something like that.
It's Machi.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a pug, but they're not sure.
Kind of looks like a loaf of bread, or
or maybe a pig.
What was the other one? A burrito or a pig. It was pig, that's right. Oh my god, that shit's good. It's good shit.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna say both of these films and then delete the one that's wrong, or I'll just keep all of it in and look like an idiot.
Sure.
But the people who produced this, I can't remember their names. It's like Phil Lord and Chris McKay. They're the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse people.
Oh.
Or they are also the Lego movie people. I can't remember. They could be both or different. And I'll just keep it all in. Look the fool. It's fine. But yeah, you definitely. I know it is. I know they're the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse people. They just might have also done the Lego Batman. I can't remember. Their names sound familiar to that, but you definitely get that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse like art feel. It definitely seems like a little bit of that came over to this and mixed with the Gravity Falls guy.
Yeah, it almost kind of looks like. I felt like it had the hands of the same people who did Aliens versus Monsters as well, but like it was definitely different, more appealing than that art style. It sounds like you didn't see that one, so. But they did. Yeah. They also did Megamind and those movies. It's fine. Whatever. I watched a lot of kids' movies.
Megamind sounds familiar because it's the blue guy with the big brain, right?
Yeah, it's Will Ferrell.
Yeah, that's right. That's probably why I didn't watch it, was because it was Will Ferrell.
Well, okay, it's one of the Will Ferrell movies that I think is acceptable. And it's not even like a super great movie, but it is funny. He is funny in it.
I'll definitely give it a try. We could definitely watch it sometime, or you all out there could recommend it for us.
You sure could.
If you sign up for our Patreon, if you are so obliged to join, you can do so.
It's patreon.com/greenandfaceless. But there's great merch opportunities, and you can vote and suggest, depending on what tier you decide to go with, if you decide to do so at all. Other great ways to support the show, I'm going to tell you after the episode's over, is to go to Apple Podcasts and write a review and rate us, because that really helps people see the show. And you know, we do this for free because we think it's fun and we like to, but we also want people to listen to it. So if you agree, you want people to listen to it, that will really help us. Yeah. And especially give us some good constructive criticism, feedback. You know, help us improve the show. Help us make it better for you. Should I use less fucking coarse language? Let me know. I could take that criticism. I mean, I think it's bullshit, but. But back to Mitchell's versus the Machines. Yes. Thank you for that tangent. Yeah, I saw a segue and I took it. There you go. Yeah, if you ever see a segue on the sidewalk, you got to take it. You got to take it. That is why they named it that. Exactly, that's what they wanted you to do. But we're heading back to the Machines. Is there more that you wanted to talk about with the Mitchells? I'm trying to think. Okay, so I think we just talked about how fun it was. It is a shit ton of fun. I mean, I feel like the way that they kind of crop in real life images sometimes and it's real flashy like that. If you don't like the trends on YouTube's, you might not like this movie. But I think the way they do it is hilarious. It's not just punch gut you with a laugh. It's all part of Katie's style, which is cool.
Exactly.
This movie, it's like this shit happens to Katie, but it also is like a movie that she would have made. So her imagination just kind of runs with her, and it bleeds through to the audience. And I love it. I think it's great.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. It was so enjoyable to watch Katie's personality just like come through this movie,
right?
Because it definitely does. It definitely tears through however this film is told. You definitely always feel her presence in the telling of the story. So it definitely feels like she's just retelling it through her own film. It's a lot of fun. Kind of like how, Luca is that director's, telling of his childhood.
Right.
It seems like this is like, how Mike Randa and Jeff Rowe might have enjoyed telling their stories as kids.
They do show at the end a picture of Mike's family, and it says the real Mitchells. And then, I think it erases that and puts his name.
I might have clicked off right when the credits started rolling.
I kind of wanted to see what the pictures did, but it was mostly just pictures of the cast, so it wasn't really adding too much to the story, except for it was just kid pictures of the cast members, which is a fun thing. But there was one more thing that I would almost say had a problem with. And so this isn't so it's a Netflix movie. So yeah, this is a Netflix problem, I would say. So they put this under their Representation Matters collection. So at the very end of the movie, it is revealed that Katie has a girlfriend and Linda wants to meet her. And that's nice. That's all well and good. Except for this movie really had nothing to do with that. It just seemed like it was shoehorned on there.
I think that's the nice thing about it. That's where it matters, is that the father, he accepts who she is. He doesn't question anything. What he questions is how she wants to go about her future in regards to career-wise. But I think that's why it's under the Representation Matters, is because it is a good, strong message for LGBTQ parents. Like, just accept your kids. Like, they know who they are better than what you think they do. And I think that's the message that was in the film, and why it's included in that area, is because it's a good message in that regard. It just let it be. Right. Like, it didn't go into it at all. It didn't make it a focal point.
I like that they came out and said it. It's not hidden under anything. It just really didn't seem like it was a part of the story. It doesn't feel like this story. It just seemed like retroactive and just like an add-on. So,
gotcha.
But knowing that her character is gay, maybe going through and watching it again, I could appreciate the hey, accept your kids message a little bit more. Which, that definitely is the message of the movie. Is like, hey, just have your kids back. See what you can do to help them achieve their dream. I think that's a good message.
That was one of the beauties of this, the family chemistry was they all kind of accepted who their individual family member was. They're just like, yep, that is exactly who my dad is. And I love him for that. He makes a lot of mistakes. You could tell this family really loved each other, but there's just, they still just were at each other's throats all the time sometimes. I say all the time sometimes. What the fuck?
All the time sometimes.
They're at each other's throats sometimes. But it's very funny that, they accept each other as who they are.
Yeah.
And they know precisely, what they want from that person, what they need to improve upon. And it's just really, I don't know. I just really enjoyed this one. This one touched me much more than... It's
another warm movie. And, it's warmness that comes from dysfunction that you can recognize in your own family. And family is definitely a big big part of the message here. And I think maybe I'm moving into closing statements, if that's okay.
That's fine.
So this movie's got a big, hey, your family is your family, so try to make it right with them vibe to it. And I feel like, it's 2021. We've had some rough times, particularly in this country, but around the globe, everybody's hurting. And, that stress is a strain on people's relationships with their loved ones. And, if you are looking back and being like, and you've maybe cut yourself off from some of your ties, but you're looking back with fondness at some of the things that you used to have with those people, maybe it's worth going in there and trying to fix it. Maybe you don't have to agree on everything. But, also though, sometimes you got to stand your ground on the things that you're uncomfortable about those people, So
yeah.
I don't necessarily know that I am going to say, hey, 100% go back, bring those people back into your lives, because maybe you need to examine why you cut those ties. But maybe it's worth the work also, if you love that person. And I think we could do with more with a similar message.
What face would you give it?
I would give it a full face. I kind of want to give it a face and a half as well. They both really just were a lot of fun for me. But I feel like, I don't know what it is necessarily about that. I don't know. I don't know why I wouldn't give it a face and a half, besides that I think the comical part of this movie probably outweighed the dramatic part of it for me.
Really?
Where I felt like it was more balanced in Luca. Even though the drama part of this is pretty good. But and there is story elements in Luca that I wanted to have more of. And this movie, honestly, at the end, everything was touched on. It was well closed up. So, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to give it a face and a half. I don't know why I enjoyed it. I don't know why I'm resident to give that rating. I just feel like I'll go back and rewatch Luca and still have the same feeling, but maybe those punchy jokes won't be as funny when I rewatch Mitchell's versus the Machines. But maybe it will be just as fun and impactful when I come back to it. Who knows?
I don't know. I really enjoy it. I give it 3.5 stars. I agree with a lot of what you said. I really enjoyed the humor of it. I thought it was so funny. Yeah. Kate or Katie?
Katie. I think they call her Kate sometimes.
Kate.
Probably
whatever.
Rick.
But she is such a good character. I was so in love with her. She's so funny. And her relationship with her dad. See, that's the thing, is like a parental relationship or like a family bond like that always gonna get me. And I agree that the humor and the emotion was more balanced in Luca, but I think the imbalance of it in this movie is what made me cry more. Because I didn't actually cry in Luca, but I cried in Mitchell's and the Machines. There was a good solid couple moments in the Mitchell's versus Machines where it was like, oh God, that hits me, but not like I'm crying because it's really sad. It's more of just like a very joyful moment where I'm just like, yes,
I will say in the third act, when her dad hears what she said, that did really get me. That probably did rock me a bit more than anything in Luca.
It definitely hit me hard. I was just like, because I expected it, I knew it was coming, but still, it was just like, that's painful moment.
It was really that the animation of Rick and I guess Danny McBride along with that really stuck at home. The animation is just great, and really in both films.
Yeah, they do a great job, and I give them both 3.5 stars. But another thing, I get where you're coming from with Netflix putting on the representation, but I really like having an openly gay character that the story doesn't feel like it has to focus on. It's just another
totally
aspect
fair.
of their character. You know, that's what I really liked about it.
But I feel like
if
you're gonna do that, have her be an openly gay character, why didn't we get to know from the start? It almost feels like it was hiding it.
It could have been in the animation though. There could be like background things, like you could see photos of like maybe like a prom date photo or something. Like maybe. It might have already been in there that it's established her character in the background as being part of the community. But
I didn't necessarily know ahead of time which character was going to be represented, but I did know that it was a part of Netflix's collection, so I was looking for it. And maybe it was because I was looking for it that it felt like, oh, okay, that's how you're representing the community, is just by shoehorning it in. That's what it felt like to me, I think. But there was this point where she was talking about Paige, I believe the character's name was. Jade is the character's name.
Jade.
A girl that she was interested in meeting when she got to school. So there were hints to it. It wasn't open about it until the end. And, I just thought, I don't know. I guess I was looking for more representation than that.
I mean, that's totally fair. I don't know. There's something about just the fact that the story is like, we're not going to focus on it. That's just going to be an aspect of her character. The focus of the story is on her bond with her father. Because it just seems like whenever somebody includes that in their story, includes a homosexual character, they feel like they have to like really make that a pivotal point of the story. Right. And it's like, it doesn't have to be. It's just an aspect of who they are.
You're right.
Yeah.
I agree with that as well.
I guess to bring it all to a close, who wins the stay or go? Is it Netflix? Is it Disney Plus?
Really hard. This one's honestly pretty hard. I think you have a stronger opinion than I do.
Yeah, it really is hard for me. I finished Luca, and again with Mitchell's versus the Machines, that slipped under my radar. I didn't know anything about it until you mentioned it. You were like, "Hey, there's this movie on Netflix I want to watch." And I was like, okay, tell me what it's about. You told me, I'm like, that doesn't seem like it's up my alley. I'll still watch it, of course. Especially since it's animation, that makes it even more interesting. But I've seen National Lampoons. I've seen all these like dysfunctional family movies. They all just kind of feel the same. This one definitely does feel the same, but it's a great family. Like how they handle the dysfunctional family is still very entertaining, and it always is. It's just, I don't know. It's not my cup of tea, but it surprised me. I laughed so much more at the Mitchells vs. the Machines than I did at Luca.
Definitely.
And I connected with the story and the message more too. So it's just, even though I still connected a lot with the story in Luca and really enjoyed that youthful exploration of a friendship, that was a lot of fun. But I give it to Mitchells vs. the Machines. It surprised me. I didn't watch any trailers for either of these films. I went in blind for both of them, and I don't know. The Mitchells vs. the Machines seems like the one I'm more likely to go back to because it made me laugh so much more.
Yeah, it did make me laugh quite a bit, and it is very relatable, and and just the references with the technology and shit. Oh god, that was so funny. But I don't know, like, the more we talked about the Mitchells versus the Machines, I think the more my opinion has shifted towards that being the winner of the stay or go. But I really did enjoy Luca, so it is hard for me to say, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to Mitchells versus the Machines and call it a night. That's it.
Sorry, Pixar. Sorry, they're going downhill. They lost to Sony.
They won the last stay or go they were in.
Yeah, I mean, typically it's a safe bet that Disney will win.
Yeah. Do you remember what it was up against? Do you remember what Soul was up against?
Tom and Jerry, was it?
No. I think it was with Wonder Woman 84, though.
Oh, it might have been with Wonder Woman 84, I think
it was.
Actually, yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
It was Raya. Raya and the Last Dragon was with Tom and Jerry.
Right. I mean, as is going to be a long-running tradition if we do this for many years, by the end of the year, I will do a top 5 and a worst 5 of all the new films we've watched.
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I did that last year, but I think I only did the top 5. This year I'll do the worst 5 also because it'll be fun to revisit. But it's saying something that of my top 5 right now of the 17 or 18 new releases that we've watched this year, 3 of them are animated films right now.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of animated films because, I mean, there's no limit. There's no limit to what you can do because if you control it, it can be done. And then, you add computer abilities onto that to enhance it. And
yeah, exactly. Usually, though, when I do my favorites of the year, it's like 1 or 2 animations in the top 10.
Right.
And now it's like 3 in the top 5. And it's like, I just don't know if the live action films we're seeing are just trash or like what's happening. Like, but that's just how my heart is.
I could see people having a hard time doing their job, because of just the global pressure right now. I can see art suffering because of trauma, and then eventually it'll be good because of that trauma.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, there's probably a lot of regulations when filming in person together still.
That's true, too.
That's got to be real hard to work around.
Chemistry between actors is important, and it's kind of hard to do if you can't be next to them.
Or if one of you is constantly in a face mask while they're filming over your shoulder.
Right, yeah.
It's kind of hard to react off of only the eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
interesting world.
Interesting world indeed. But, we're hoping we're getting back to normal, but I don't know. It kind of seems like it's backsliding. We'll see. We love you, world.
I still haven't returned to the theaters after the one film, Quiet Place Part 2.
Right.
I'm wondering when the next movie is. I don't remember what the next new release we have up. Not also streamed. I've gotten lazy with the streams, man. It's making me a lazier film goer.
Black Widow is coming out this Friday. So that dates when we're recording this anyways. So I think that's probably going to be coming up here soon that we do that. So
yeah, but that's also on Disney Plus too. It's just we got to pay $30 for it.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
But I'm willing to do that because I'm not really interested in the Black Widow or Scarlett Johansson. I like her enough, but she's not one of my favorite characters. So I'm just
sure. But dude, okay, they have what's his name? The guy from Stranger Things. Hopper's gonna be one of the main characters, and
yeah,
I'm happy for that. I mean, I really enjoy him in general. I really want. So here's, I know that you guys don't know what my human mask looks like, but it looks very similar to this guy. I'm gonna say that. It's
very true.
It looks very similar to him. God, I wish I remember his name. But anyhow, I always wanted to pitch to Netflix, and so I'm going to pitch it right now to Netflix if you're listening. We did review your movie, so, just listen for just a second. Yeah, I would like to be on Stranger Things. Just remember, I look a lot like Hopper. I do. So I want to be on Stranger Things. I want to be his brother, his younger brother.
Ooh,
from Indianapolis. And because I remember that being where Hopper was from.
Nice.
And he comes looking for Hopper, and Hopper, because he hasn't heard from him for a long time.
There you go. If they haven't filmed the 4th or 5th, whatever the last season's going to be.
That's it.
There's your pitch. You got the perfect looking actor right here for your Hopper's younger brother.
Hopper's younger brother right here.
And then I, in my natural state, can play any number of ungodly beasts.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of weird green critters in the under the upside down.
Yeah, the upside down. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't even need a human mask. He can just go right in.
Just in my natural state, I can just terrify. It'll be great.
Yeah.
So yeah. Pay us money, Netflix.
Hell yeah.
And you too, Disney.
Please and thank you. Oh, once again, I've been the Faceless Leon.
And I am the Green Traveler.
Safe travels, and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of Fiction Works 19. If you like the show, please show your support by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Like, follow, subscribe, wherever you might listen. We also now have a Patreon account. If you feel so inclined to support us in a financial manner, please become a patron by visiting patreon.com/greenandfaceless. You can also find more information about us on our Facebook account or on the Fiction Works 19 Instagram account. Thank you so much for listening.